Part 37. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 389. On the deck of the Discovery. After a lot of hard work, everyone finally repaired the big holes that were blown out by 5 heavy bombs. After being tired, everyone rested one after another. The goddess of spring used magic to create a large block of ice, and Sanji helped make iced drinks to quench everyone's thirst. Everyone was blowing the sea breeze while drinking their drinks. It was late now, and the sun was already setting. Rog looked around, and said, "Okay, no matter when the opponent will attack. But our speed should be faster." Looking at the main mast of the Discovery, the sail on the huge mast was only half extended. "I'll go up and get it first." Roger took out the rattan whip. Rog aimed his cane whip at the top of the main mast. Then it shot towards the main mast and hitched the area around the top of the main mast. With the help of the rattan whip, Rog was also taken up. Roger looked around after reaching the top of the main mast. The view to the sea all around is better from here than from the deck. Roger then further untied the mainmast sail rope. The mainmast sails are fully unfurled. Roger watches the setting sun from here. At this time, the sun has already dropped halfway to the sea level. However, after the sails were fully deployed, the speed of the Discovery was further accelerated. Roger then came down from the top of the mainmast with a cane whip. After returning to the deck, Rog put away the vine whip. Rog, the goddess of spring, came to Rog's side at this time. "What's going on?" Rog asked. The goddess of spring said, "Rog, I can use magic to create a huge wind to propel this ship. But the effect may not be very good. But I will try my best." "It's like this, thank you for your hard work," Roger said. Usopp and the others were also very excited when they heard it. "Is it really possible to do this?" Usopp said. "What a spectacle that would be," Luffy said. The fountain went behind the mainmast sails. She raised the iron axe and whispered a spell. A wind force formed around the iron axe, and then the wind force became stronger and stronger. At last a huge storm was formed and blew towards the mainmast sails. All of a sudden, a huge thrust was given to the mainmast sail. The speed of Discovery is also accelerating. The speed roughly doubled, but soon it slowed down again after more than 10 seconds. The storm created by the spring goddess with magic also disappeared. After the spring goddess used the magic just now, she also took a breath. The effect of this method is not obvious. And it is quite labor-intensive, the spring water goddess said. Usopp said, "Not bad." "It's really cool," Luffy said. Sanji rushed to the front of the spring goddess after seeing it, and said in admiration, "It's really a goddess." The spring water goddess looked at everyone and said, "But the time is too short, I'm afraid it won't be effective." Sanji didn't take it seriously, and said in admiration, "Don't say it like this, the goddess ability can also play a role at critical times." Luffy looked at the sky, and now the sunset in the sky has already gone down. "Sanji, it's time for us to have dinner," Luffy said expectantly. Sanji looked at Luffy and said, "What a glutton. But then again, it's getting dark soon." Sanji looked at the goddess of spring water again with a loving face and said, "Goddess, I will cook a big meal for everyone later." Afterwards, Sanji happily walked towards the cabin for a while. Rog looked at the sunset that was almost completely setting in the sky, and everyone was being watched by the enemy. But what will happen next, we'll have to wait and see. If it is destined to be like this, it is useless to escape. "There is only a brave fight," Rog said. Usopp looked at the sky, and saw some seagulls flying. Seeing these, Usopp seemed to have some shadows in his heart and said, "I don't know if these seagulls are the partners of that seagull head guy named Leo." Rog also looked at the seagulls and said, "In this case, how about shooting them down?" "Okay," Usopp said excitedly. In order to deal with these seagulls, Rog used the plant fruit ability to grow a tree, and made some baseball-sized spherical nuts grow on it. Using these spherical nuts, Usopp shoots them with his specially made reinforced slingshot. A seagull flies above Discovery's main mast. Usopp aimed his slingshot at it. "Usopp, you must work hard," Chopper said expectantly. Rog also looked at Usopp expectantly. Usopp aimed at the seagull on the main mast. But the seagull flew indifferently, as if thinking that only guns could shoot it down. "Must kill." Nut star. Usopp shot a nut from the reinforced slingshot. This baseball-sized nut packs a punch of speed and power. The seagull was too late to escape and was hit. After a period of bird screams, the seagull fell to the deck. After the seagull fell, Chopper and Roger applauded. "So handsome," Usopp, Chopper said. "Sharpshooter," Roger said. Usopp said proudly, "It's nothing." Usopp continued to shoot nuts the size of baseballs with his reinforced slingshot. The reinforced slingshot he is using now is made of plant wood modified by Rog using the ability of plant fruits. Not only is it larger, but it is also a small bow that catches up. And the texture is very good, able to withstand many weapons fired. Seagulls were shot down one by one. In total, more than a dozen seagulls surrounding the Discovery were shot down. On the deck, Roger and Chopper caught the shot seagulls together and prepared to send them to Sanji. "Now, we can enjoy seagull meat again at night," Chopper said happily. Everyone brought the seagull meat to the cabin again, and sent it to Sanji's kitchen. These dozen seagulls were actually sent by Leo to monitor Discovery and everyone, but they turned out to be everyone's delicacies. The sun gradually set completely from the end of the sea. It's night time. On the deck of the Discovery, everyone continued to sit around the dining table and enjoy dinner. At the dinner table, everyone was talking and laughing, as if the previous attack had gone away. "Wow, it's delicious," Chopper said happily. It's delicious," Luffy said with his mouth full of bread and seagull meat. The table was filled with grilled seagulls and seagull soup. There are also fruitcakes and bread and butter. Sanji is dedicated to the goddess of spring water, Nami, and Robin. Rog, Zoro, and the King of Ninjas began to drink together. Of course, the three of them were careful not to get drunk. During this dinner, Usopp began to talk about his heroic experience. "I think back then, when Captain Usopp was sailing across the sea, even a small Neptune had to become Captain Usopp's pet." Usopp raised his glass and said eloquently. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 390. Chopper said while eating the cake, "Really?" Usopp continued, "Of course that's not all. Captain Usopp also accidentally saved a Navy warship with one hand." Usopp gushed over his glorious deeds. Just as dinner was being held on the deck of the Discovery, above the sky, Leo, who had already transformed into a seagull form, spread his wings and flew. Only the moon and stars shine in the dark night. But it's not a problem for Leo at all. The eyes of seagulls can also clearly distinguish objects on the sea below at night. Behind Leo were 4 huge seagulls. These 4 are the king seagulls invited by Leo. A king seagull can reach more than meters with its wings spread. These great king gulls are actually 4 brothers. They used to be giant seabirds that lived in windless areas and fed on sea kings. But Leo found them once, and there was a conflict. But Leo won the approval of the 4 brothers of the king seagull with his strong ability and the spirit of defending the seagull race. They also went to live on the cliffs above Seagull Island, the great route where Leo was. In the past, many ships traveling on the sea area of the Great Route were attacked by Leo, and the 4 brothers King Seagull often helped. They hunt and kill humans, and Leo seizes various weapons and supplies on the ship. This time Leo personally invited them to go out together. The 4 King Seagull brothers were furious when they heard that seagulls were being slaughtered and even used as food. Together with Leo, they attacked the Discovery and everyone. But they didn't come empty-handed. Many heavy bombs were tied to the torsos of the 4 King Seagull brothers. 30 heavy bombs are strapped to the torso of each great King Seagull. The shape of these heavy bombs is exactly the same as the heavy bombs used by Leo during the daytime raid on the Discovery. The King Seagulls are carrying heavy bombs and are preparing to attack the Discovery under the guidance of Leo. Leo himself only carried 4 bombs. He's mostly guiding and revenge this time around. I must destroy these stinky humans, Leo said fiercely. After continuous flying, Leo and the King Seagulls finally flew to the sea area where the Discovery was. In the sea below, the Discovery rover is sailing. Although it was already night, Leo and the King Seagulls could still clearly see the Discovery below. Leo's piercing eyes saw a faint burst of fire on the deck of the Great Sea Explorer below. Damn it, so many seagulls have been killed. How dare you eat dinner comfortably like this? But, you will soon feel what terror is, Leo said. Leo took the lead and flew towards the Discovery below. The King Seagulls also followed, but they flew higher. Leo flew above the Discovery and aimed at the front of the deck. That's where Rog and Sauron had their dinner. Suffer death, bastards. Leo aimed at the deck and dropped 2 heavy bombs first. 2 heavy bombs hit the deck. Everyone who was dining on the deck was talking and laughing. At this moment, Rog, Sauron, and the King of Ninjas felt something was wrong. A dangerous breath approached. Sauron's sense is especially strong. Zorro and the Ninja King suddenly looked up, and saw 2 heavy bombs falling down. Although the moonlight and starlight were dim, the 2 of them could still see the 2 heavy bombs. Seeing this, Zorro said in a bad way, "Oh no, quickly find a way to deflect the bomb." Roger quickly took out a rattan whip. Quickly infuse fruit power into it. Vine whip. Super vine net. Rog used the plant fruit ability to interweave the vine whip repeatedly, turning it into a huge net. A huge net covered the upper deck, and quickly rushed towards the top. When the 2 heavy bombs were only more than 10 meters away from the deck, they were caught by the huge super rattan net. Okay, let's go. Zorro and the Ninja King took the opportunity to jump up quickly, and each grabbed one side of the super vine net. The 2 of them worked hard together. The super vine net and the 2 heavy bombs inside were thrown into the sea on the left side of the Discovery deck. After the 2 heavy bombs were dropped, they exploded quickly. Boom, rumble, rumble. 2 explosions sounded, and the water column actually splashed tens of meters high. Everyone on the deck was terrified. Usopp was so scared that he lay on the deck. Chopper hid behind Luffy in fright. Luffy also exclaimed at the huge splash of water. Wow, that's so cool. Rog, Zorro, the King of Ninjas. Is this a show performed by the 3 of you? Luffy said excitedly. Rog and Sauron both said helplessly, what? We were attacked. The Ninja King was also shocked for a while, and then quickly looked around. Now it was suddenly attacked, and there was no one else but Leo. And the heavy bomb used just now was also used by Leo. Usopp immediately stood up and looked around and at the night sky. God, look, Usopp said, pointing his finger at the sky. Everyone looked up at the night sky. I saw a shadow like a seagull in the sky. This shadow is in the sky above Discovery. But judging by the appearance, there is no doubt that it is Leo. But what really terrified and surprised everyone was that there were 4 huge seabird-like things flying in the higher sky. What's going on? Usopp said in surprise. I'm afraid we have more than one enemy, Rog said. There are a lot of monsters too, Luffy said. In the night sky, the 2 heavy bombs that Leo dropped first were successfully blocked. Why is this happening? Leo said in surprise. On the deck of the Explorer below, Rog looked at the terrifying shadows in the night sky. If you are fighting on deck or on land, you are not afraid of anything. But worst of all, the enemy is in the sky. The enemy is using the sky advantage to attack here. At this time, the goddess of spring water said, let me try it. The goddess of springs suddenly used an iron axe. She held up the iron axe and whispered a magic spell in her mouth. Around the iron axe creates wind, and then there is a storm. After forming a storm, the goddess of springs shot the storm at the top of the huge sails of the Discovery's main mast. Under the action of this powerful storm, the Discovery speeded up and sailed forward. "Wow, that's fast," Luffy shouted. "It's so exciting," Usopp said. Nami shouted, "It's so scary." Sanji quickly rushed to the helm of the Discovery and began to steer. "Ladies, don't worry, the boat won't deviate with me," Sanji said. Sanji worked hard to control the rudder, allowing the meteor warship to stabilize its direction and continue moving forward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 391. But after more than 10 seconds, Discovery slowed down again. When Rog saw the idea of the goddess of springs, he suddenly had a clever idea. "By the way, everyone, we now need strong winds to allow us to move quickly. Even for a short period of time. If we can continue to maintain this kind of wind, then the ship can continue to leave the sea quickly," Rog said. Usopp said, "Your idea is good. But how can we leave here quickly? Even the goddess of spring water cannot sustain such a continuous wind for a long time." Rog also felt a bit of a headache immediately. He said, "This is also." The goddess of spring water said to everyone, "I will do my best to ensure that the ship can move quickly. The situation is urgent now, and we still need to avoid the attacks of those enemies at night." But Rog had another idea in his mind, and said, "Then let's do this. Hold on, I'll quickly transform a plant weapon." "Go ahead and do it," Sanji said. Just like that, everyone on the Discovery started to act urgently. Although the goddess of springs cannot maintain wind power for a long time, she can create storms every once in a while. This, coupled with Sanji's timely change of direction, greatly enhanced the irregularity of Discovery's driving. During this precious time, Rog quickly used almost all the power of the plant fruit to quickly transform the plant weapon. What was transformed by Rog was a sapling. Rog's whole body was glowing with green light, and the sapling in his hand was quickly transformed. Leo in the sky also noticed something was wrong with the Discovery. This huge meteor warship actually keeps moving like this. Leo decided to let the King Seagulls take part in the battle. "Everyone, it's time for you to show your power," Leo said. The 4 King Seagull brothers chirped for a while, and then they started to move. The 4 King Gulls began to lower their altitude and bombard the Discovery below. They dropped heavy bombs one after another. These bombs tore through the air and fell on the Discovery below. But just as the heavy bombs were about to hit the Explorer, the sails of the Explorer accelerated because of the storm created by the goddess of springs. Actually avoided these heavy bombs. In this way, in the continuous battle, more than 10 heavy bombs thrown by the King Seagulls were all dodged. Heavy bombs fell into the sea. The explosion splashed a string of water jets. Discovery is still sailing. And in addition to accelerating, it also changes direction irregularly from left to right. On board the Discovery, Fountain works hard to create storms. But this consumes a lot of mana. The others were also very nervous. Usopp, Chopper, and Luffy were shaken and bumped on the deck. Roger is desperately transforming the saplings. Even though the surrounding world was shaking, Rog concentrated his energy. "Okay," Roger said. Roger completed the transformation of the sapling. Roger didn't say much, but arranged the saplings. It then grows rapidly. After growing, a huge opening was opened at the top of the sapling. In other words, the tree is already a chimney. Rog continued to use the plant fruit power. Misty Tree. A large amount of smoke is constantly pouring from the top of the misty tree. At this time, the exhausted goddess of spring also looked at Rog. Groups of smoke spread rapidly and blocked the top of the Discovery. The surrounding area of Discovery is also blocked. And this huge smoke is still expanding. Leo and the king seagulls in the sky were shocked. Leo looked at the huge smoke pouring out of the Discovery. What's going on? Leo said in disbelief. Swarms of smoke formed a fog. Shroud Discovery. The scope of the fog is enough to obscure more than a dozen warships or a fleet. In this case, bombing becomes extremely difficult. Although Leo and King Seagull have excellent eyesight. But it is also impossible to see the objects in the fog. On the deck of the Discovery, Rog was also exhausted after manipulating the misty tree to blow out a large amount of smoke. It's finally okay, Rog breathed a sigh of relief. The desperate use of plant fruit power just now has exhausted Rog. After Rog completed the transformation, he manipulated the misty tree to produce so much smoke. The Discovery is protected by this fog. Now Rog is exhausted. Usopp looked at the fog above and around him and said, I see. Luffy said in disbelief, it looks interesting, but what is the purpose of all this fog? Usopp said helplessly, in this way, the enemy can't see us clearly, so they can't attack. Sanji looked at the surrounding fog and said, it is indeed a good idea. It is difficult for the enemy to drop bombs to hit us. They have no way to judge. Sauron looked around and said, this method is not bad. The goddess of spring water was also freed from the tired frequent casting of magic. This way we can take a breather, said the goddess of spring water. Now after the tension, it finally used the large amount of smoke from Rog's misty tree to form a huge sea fog, allowing everyone to breathe. And another point is that although these fogs are huge, Rog's fog trees continue to replenish the smoke, allowing these fogs to be maintained for a long time. After taking a short rest, Rog asked Nami again, Nami, take a look at what the weather will be like around you. Nami said, okay. As the navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates, Nami knows a lot about the weather. She can tell which direction the weather is going to change around her by the temperature, the direction of the wind, and the behavior of the waves and everything around her. Nami began to judge the surrounding weather conditions. With such a fright just now, everyone was gearing up. Chopper looked at the surrounding fog, although he knew that the enemy could not attack because of the fog. But this little guy is still full of fear in his heart. Now because of the fog, it is safe for the time being. Rog also continued to rest. As long as the fog remains, there is no need to worry about Discovery being discovered. These fogs act as a barrier for Discovery. Luffy looked around, and the fog had already acted as a huge barrier. Suddenly Luffy's stomach growled. Sanji, I'm hungry again, Luffy said to Sanji. Sanji immediately said helplessly, is your stomach a bottomless pit? Chopper looked at the sky and the surroundings, only to see a thick fog covering the surroundings. I can finally feel at ease, Chopper said. Anyway, at least I can feel at ease for a while. After a while of judging the weather, Nami finally came to a conclusion. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 392. Nami is proficient in meteorology and can accurately predict various weather conditions. She can even feel changes in the surrounding environment and predict the weather just through her body. Nami once felt the change of the surrounding weather while walking around on the deck, and it turned out that a large hailstone fell. Everyone, I have predicted the weather. There will not be too much sea breeze in this area tonight. But shortly after dawn tomorrow, there will be a relatively severe storm, Nami said to everyone. Everyone had different expressions after hearing this. It's no problem tonight, right? Zoro said. There will be wind after dawn tomorrow, so these fogs can be said to be dangerous, Usopp said. Luffy said nonchalantly, anyway, there is still one night. You can still enjoy it. Have a good dream after eating. Usopp punched Luffy on the head and said, "It's really hopeless if you just know how to eat and sleep." Rog said, "This way, at least it will be safe for one night. But I don't think they will give up." The current situation can be said that Leo has extreme hatred for everyone on the Discovery. He certainly won't let it go. Then let's go like this. Everyone has a night's rest first. There are advantages during the day. Although there will be storms, it will also cause certain obstacles to the enemy. At that time, we may be able to find a way to defeat the opponent. How about Sanji said. Everyone agreed. It's indeed good. Let's wait until dawn and think of a way to fight them, Luffy said. Everyone was a little tired, and Sanji then made some snacks and tea for everyone to have as a supper. Then everyone went to rest. The fog above the Discovery has always existed, making it impossible for Leo and the others in the sky to attack. In the night sky, Leo and King Seagulls are unable to attack due to the fog of the Discovery. The fog above the Discovery is enough to cover a fleet. Damn, I can't attack if I can't see clearly, Leo said. The fog above the Discovery is enough to cover a fleet. Can't find the specific location, throwing heavy bombs like this is also a waste. Leo looked at the huge sea fog below, and the 4 King Seagull brothers behind him. Now it's time to make a battle decision. Okay, everyone. Let's rest on the nearby rocks first. I will send little seagulls to continuously scout here. Don't you feel that a storm is coming? But that will be after dawn, Leo said. Birds have a powerful sense of the weather. Both Leo and King Seagull realized that the storm would come after dawn. It doesn't make any sense to be anxious now. The 4 King Seagull brothers all agreed. Leo and the 4 King Seagull brothers fly to a nearby reef to rest. Leo turned his head to look at the mist. After dawn, you will die a miserable death, Leo said. After Leo and the King Seagulls flew away, a group of ordinary little seagulls flew here to investigate the situation. In the cabin of the Discovery in the fog. Everyone is resting. Of course, some people sleep soundly, and some people eat snacks. Some people read books. Some people are researching new weapons. Rog is researching new plant weapons. After all, there may be fierce battles after dawn tomorrow. There will be a storm tomorrow, and the battle may exceed my imagination. In a cabin room, Robin is reading a book in the room. The Discovery was left by Ver and the others to the Straw Hat Pirates. But there are also some marine knowledge and some historical books on it. Robin reads these before going to bed to increase his knowledge. For Robin, the Straw Hat Pirates faced their enemies again not long after she joined. Is this an adventure or a curse? Of course, it wasn't the danger Robin posed. Rather, the Straw Hat Pirates themselves are a group that challenges all kinds of dangers. To Robin, these young men seemed a little crazy. It's a good adventure. Robin closed the book. Then she went to bed peacefully and slept. The Discovery was afloat in the sea, and the surrounding fog provided cover at all times. But it's all the calm before the storm. The night is finally over. It's time for the next morning. The sky had just brightened, and Leo and the 4 King Seagull brothers flew from the reef to the sky above the Discovery, which was still shrouded in fog. Leo looked down into the mist. The fog is still so thick that people can't see clearly in the daytime. However, the weather was still gloomy during the day. The sea breeze also gradually increased from the previous breeze. Leo looked at the fog below and said, "Humph, soon you will have nowhere to hide." Leo and King Seagulls are carrying heavy bombs ready to deal a fatal blow to the Discovery. At this time, on the deck of the Discovery, Rog, Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, Usopp, Chopper, Nami, Robin, King of Ninja, and Goddess of Spring are all gathered on the deck. Even at this time, everyone ate the sandwiches made by Sanji and drank the coffee made by Sanji. "Sanji, your sandwich is very good," Robin praised. "Really, Sister Robin, I'm most happy that you like to eat," Sanji said lovingly. Usopp looked at the sky and surroundings while eating his sandwich. Although the surrounding area is still foggy at this time, the sky is somewhat brighter because of the daytime. The wind is indeed getting stronger, and it seems that there will really be a storm soon, Usopp said. Chopper drank his coffee, looked around and said, "The storm is coming, it's really scary." After all, Chopper was born in the kingdom of ice and snow, so he was shocked to face all the bad weather on the sea. The storm in Chopper's eyes can be said to be a super powerful natural disaster. Rog looked around the explorer and said, "The real storm hasn't come yet. And there are enemies more terrifying than the storm." Now on the deck, the surrounding sea breeze is gradually strengthening. It was obvious that the sea breeze would become very strong before long. Luffy looked around and said while eating sausage and sandwiches, "Wait, a storm is coming. So much fog will be blown away." Rog said, "This is also our opportunity. The storm is mixed with huge winds. In this way, we can use the sails to sail faster." Sanji said, "That's a good idea. Of course, risks are also accompanied by hand. If there is a storm, the fog will be blown away, and Discovery can use the wind to speed up." Sure enough, time passed by minute. After 8 o'clock, the sea breeze is getting stronger and stronger. The mist created by the misty tree also began to be blown away. "It's time, now we need to move as fast as possible," Nami said. "No problem." Everyone is in high spirits. After a night of preparation and rest, everyone wanted to work hard. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 393. The sails on the Discovery's main mast were pulled to maximum. Meanwhile, all are ready to fight. The sea breeze became stronger and stronger, and the fog began to be blown away on a large scale. At the same time, the sky gradually began to rain. "What should come has finally come," Sauron said. Leo and the 4 King Seagull brothers were in the sky looking at the sea below. The fog was blown away, revealing the hull of the Discovery. After seeing it, Leo said happily, "It's really great. Finally, I can attack." Although the stormy weather is approaching, it is finally possible to attack without the fog. Leo was unwilling to wait any longer. After all, things might get worse as time passed. "Okay, let's start bombing," Leo said. Leo and the 4 King Seagull brothers began to bomb the Discovery below. On the deck of the Discovery, everyone was able to see Leo and the 4 King Seagulls clearly. Everyone in Leo has seen it. But what really shocked everyone was King Seagull. The huge body of the King Seagull can reach more than meters with its wings spread. Flying in the sky is comparable to a giant. "Oh my God," Usopp said. "What is this?" Chopper said. "How could there be such a huge seagull?" Sanji said in surprise. "This is truly a monster," Rog said. "Wow, I really want to ride on it and see it," Luffy said. Robin looked up at the sky and felt how huge these king seagulls were. "I have no choice but to fight," Sauron said calmly. "The goddess of spring water and the king of ninja are also ready to fight." Leo was the first to fly above the Discovery. "Go to hell, you stinking human being." The 2 heavy bombs carried under Leo were thrown down. 2 heavy bombs hit the Discovery below. "The bomb is coming, full right rudder," Nami commanded. "No problem, Miss Nami." Sanji quickly completed the full right rudder. The huge hull of the Discovery turned to starboard. As soon as the ship turned around, 2 heavy bombs hit the sea, and the sudden violent explosion splashed amazing water columns. Discovery successfully dodged 2 heavy bombs. "Good job," Luffy cheered. "Sanji, good job." Nami also praised Sanji. After hearing this, Sanji said with love on his face, "Miss Nami, I'm waiting for you." There is another very important reason why Sanji takes the helm. That is when Nami gave an order, Sanji did it with all his strength. In this way, Sanji can perform exceptionally at critical moments. This makes Discovery more likely to survive. After Leo's attack failed, he looked at the Discovery. Now Discovery's speed has greatly increased due to the storm sea breeze. And it seems that the helmsman is also a master at steering. It seems that it is much more difficult to sink them than imagined. Next, we will see you, the four brothers King Seagull Leo said. The four king gulls all screamed alarmingly, and then began to bomb the Discovery. The king seagulls began to lower their altitude. They aimed at the Discovery and dived. On the deck of the Discovery, Nami saw the king seagulls diving. Sanji, irregular sailing, Nami ordered. Okay, Miss Nami. Sanji is now a man with % combat effectiveness. Under Sanji's rapid steering changes, the Discovery was moving irregularly from side to side on the sea. The king seagulls have already started throwing heavy bombs. Each throws 4 heavy bombs. A total of 16 bombs hit the Discovery below. The heavy bomb hit the sea behind the Discovery, and quickly exploded in the sea, setting off a column of water that soared into the sky. There were also heavy bombs that hit the sea on the side of Discovery. The soaring water column was produced by the explosion. On the deck of the Discovery, there was rainwater due to the storm, but now the water waves generated by the water column sprinkled on everyone. It's so spectacular, Luffy said excitedly. Idiot, how can you be like this? Usopp and Chopper said. Rog saw this shocking scene. It would be nothing if it hit the sea. It would be a disaster if such a heavy bomb hit the deck. Roger felt unprecedented pressure. Now you need to find a way to avoid being hit by these heavy bombs. So Rog also spent an astonishing amount of energy last night researching and transforming new plant weapons. Roger put a wooden stake around his right arm, and the stake wrapped around the wrist. Okay, it's time for you to show your power, Rog said. This stake is not the stake air cannon that has been used before. Rather, it is a powerful weapon with astonishing power. The power of the plant fruit in Rog's body is continuously injected into the stake. The front end of the stake began to expand rapidly. From the front of the stake actually grew a hand, and then an arm. It's just that this arm is made of trees. The shape is just like an arm. Alright, hand of the giant wood. The arm on this stake continued to grow longer and become larger. Eventually it grew into an arm huge enough to grab a cow. Usopp saw Rog's giant wooden hand and said in surprise, "Is this the arm of the giants?" "You'll know soon," Rog said. The giant seagulls in the sky kept dropping heavy bombs. Another heavy bomb was not dodged and was about to hit the deck. At this time, Rog's right arm controlled the giant wooden hand to quickly catch the heavy bomb. Then quickly throw it to the sea aside. Boom! The sea exploded violently. Amazing water splashes. Rog successfully avoided this heavy bomb with the giant wooden hand. After Rog used the giant wooden hand to successfully evade the attack, Usopp said, "It's really amazing." Chopper also said, "It's so cool." Luffy said, "It's fun." Sauron is always paying attention to the big king seagulls in the sky. "I always get some weird weapons," Sauron said. The Ninja King also admired Rog's ability in his heart. The king seagull continues to drop heavy bombs. This time, 5 heavy bombs were dropped in a row, 3 of which were avoided by Sanji using the rudder. But after all, the Discovery is a meteor warship with a huge hull, so there are still some heavy bombs that can hit this heavy warship. 2 other heavy bombs hit the Discovery deck. Roger quickly grabbed one of the heavy bombs with his giant wooden hand and threw it into the sea. But there is also a heavy bomb. At this time, Sauron brandished 2 knives. Sword style. Rhino way. Zoro used his double sword this time when the heavy bomb was only 10 meters away. The resulting whirlwind deflected the heavy bomb. The heavy bomb also hit the sea beside the Discovery. Under the cover of Rog's wooden hand and Sauron, the Discovery successfully evaded 2 heavy bombs. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 394. The king seagulls in the sky continued to fly, and they looked at the explorer below. No matter how it attacks, the Discovery can dodge or block it. To continue the successful attack on Discovery, then there must be more intensive attack bombing. The great king seagulls further lowered their altitude and aimed at the Discovery below. Although the storm is very strong now, the king seagull is not only huge but also powerful. The king seagulls dropped 6 heavy bombs together. A total of 24 heavy bombs rapidly and intensively bombarded Discovery in a short period of time. The power of this wave of bombing was astonishing. The sea around the Discovery was splashed with water jets rising into the sky. The Discovery is under the command of Nami, and Sanji is at the helm, constantly dodging. Huge jets of water kept rushing around the Discovery. There were also some heavy bombs that fell, but Rog's giant wooden hand and Sauron successfully deflected these heavy bombs. But the Discovery is huge after all, and it is still difficult for heavy warships up to meters to avoid these heavy bombs. Still, a heavy bomb hit the stern area of the Discovery. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion occurs. The Discovery's hull shook violently, and thick smoke was blown out of the stern of the ship. After being hit by this heavy bomb, the progress of the Discovery also deviated drastically. Sanji quickly stabilized the rudder. The Discovery's hull trembled violently, but luckily the stern was bombed. It would be devastating if the side of the ship was hit. Immediately afterwards, another heavy bomb hit the middle of the Discovery's hull. The violent explosion caused the Discovery to shake violently on the sea. "Scared me to death," Usopp said. "Whoa, we're going to get hit," Chopper said. "It feels so good," Luffy said. Usopp couldn't complain, looked at Luffy and said, "This idiot." Sanji desperately held onto the rudder. "Ah, how scary!" Nami bumped into Sanji as the deck shook. Sanji immediately felt extremely happy. "Miss Nami, I will lead everyone out of danger," Sanji said with high spirits. Sanji continued to work hard to steady the rudder. Another heavy bomb hit the front of the Discovery deck. Rog quickly used the giant wooden hand to stop the heavy bomb. After the heavy bomb was stopped, it was thrown into the sea aside by the hand of the giant tree. The explosion of this heavy bomb caused a huge wave. 3 more heavy bombs hit the center of the Discovery. Since everyone is in the front deck area of the Discovery, there is no defense in the middle. Boom, 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 boom. 3 heavy bombs exploded violently, and the deck of the Discovery shook violently. The deck of the Discovery was severely damaged. However, the attacks of the king seagulls still did not stop. Heavy bombs continued to drop down again and again. The deck of the Discovery was hit by 4 heavy bombs, one after another. In addition to the damaged wood and steel on the deck of the Exploration, there was also a raging fire. Fortunately, the stormy sea breeze and rain made these fires quickly extinguished. Discovery is now scarred, but it is still moving. The great king seagulls intensified their bombing efforts to destroy the Discovery. 4 king seagulls screamed piercingly, and dropped groups of heavy bombs. Discovery continues to dodge heavy bombs. A large number of heavy bombs hit the sea again, splashing water jets into the sky. However, some heavy bombs hit the Discovery. Although Rog and Sauron blocked some. Still, some heavy bombs hit the Discovery. The Discovery suffered severe damage to its hull. Although the flames and smoke were dissipated by the storm. But the deck of this meteor warship has been greatly damaged. The storm is still violent, but the Discovery can still use the wind to travel quickly on the sea. Discovery braved the wind and waves, and sailed hard on the rough sea. However, the Discovery was able to successfully resist the bombing of the king seagulls, thanks to the storm. The storm affected the attack and flight of the king seagulls to some extent. More importantly, Discovery can sail quickly on the sea with its huge sails. The king gulls continue their bombardment. Now the four king seagulls have been bombed for a long time, although they hit the explorer many times. But they were still annoyed. Discovery has been hit so many times and has yet to sink. The four king seagull brothers decided to fight to the death. The four king seagulls further lowered their altitude and bombarded the Discovery. The bombs hit the explorer intensively. "Be careful," Rog said. More than a dozen bombs hit the Discovery in a row. A violent explosion on the deck of the Discovery. Rog urgently used his giant wooden hand to block everyone. After intensive bombing, the king seagulls flew past the meteor warship. Rog's giant wooden hand was also severely damaged. Fortunately, everyone is safe after the bombing. "It's terrible. How is our ship doing now?" Usopp looked towards the Discovery deck. The deck of the Discovery was in a mess, but the most shocking thing was that the main mast had fallen and the sails were in dilapidated condition. The remaining submasts were also destroyed. Discovery is now a warship merely adrift. "No way," Usopp said in shock and despair. "How can we sail like this?" Chopper said. Roger also looked at the bad deck. The deck of Discovery is now in a mess. Sails and masts are beyond repair anyway. Now it can be said that the Discovery is already a warship that can only drift. Nami looked at the mess on the deck and said in horror, "How can we drive like this?" Sanji worked hard to continue to steer. Although there is no sail, the sea is still surging. The storm made the waves of the sea itself rage. Nami's brain suddenly brightened after seeing this. "Sanji, I command you now. We use the natural surge of the waves to change direction," Nami said. "Okay," Sanji said enthusiastically. Although the Discovery is already a messy warship, Nami is still commanding the warship to sail. As an excellent navigator, Nami worked very hard to command Sanji to change the direction of the explorer. The storm makes the sea surge. Even if there is no sail, it can be adjusted according to the direction of the seawater surge. That way, the hull of the Discovery will also use the waves to travel. In the midst of a storm, Discovery's 100-meter-long hull sailed over the waves of the sea. Seeing that the Discovery was not sunk, the king seagulls flew back again. Seeing this situation, Usopp was also terrified. "Hurry up and think of a way," Usopp said nervously. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 395. Zoro looked at the flying king seagulls. He looked at Rog's giant wooden hand again. "Rog, it's up to you," Sauron said. Rog immediately understood what Sauron meant. "Okay," Rog said. Rog manipulated the giant wooden hand to capture Sauron. The king seagulls were about to dive and bomb. At this time Rog seized the opportunity to throw Sauron out. Zoro was thrown by Rog's giant wooden hand, like a baseball being thrown. Zoro flew straight towards the swooping king seagulls. His 3 samurai swords are all in place. The katana in both his arms are horizontally rearward, like an eagle spreading its wings and soaring towards the sky. His eyes were as sharp as an eagle's at the moment. After the Ninja King on the deck saw it, he said in shock, "Could it be that he wants to use that kind of move?" When Zoro first met and fought with the King of Ninjas in the Alabaster Rain Lands, he used a powerful bottom-up flying 3-sword style move. The king seagull was still swooping down, not paying attention to Zoro who was flying up. Sauron looked directly at the king seagull at the front. 3-sword style. Flying eagle slash. Zoro's 3-sword style slashes with powerful slashes. Kill like an eagle flying to the sky. Zoro's arms and katana are like 2 wings. The samurai sword in the mouth is like an eagle's beak. King Seagull and Sauron drew closer for a moment. Puff. Sauron's body flew over the king seagull. The body of the king seagull suddenly began to fall downwards. Blood flew from the air. The other 3 king gulls were shocked and instinctively flew away quickly. The king seagull that was being beheaded finally swooped down on the deck of the Discovery. Boom! The king seagull killed by Zoro hit the Discovery. Everyone looked at the king seagull. I saw that its head was now covered with blood, and it was obviously fatally injured. "Where's Zorro?" Chopper suddenly asked. "Too bad, Sauron's whereabouts are unknown now," Rog said. "Sauron used a powerful attack just now, but he also flew far away. I'm afraid it has fallen into the sea." Zorro Luffy shouted towards the sea. Zoran Usopp and Chopper also shouted quickly. Rog looked at the sea, gritted his teeth and said, "Zoran, you must be safe." Sauron had just used a powerful beheading move and fell into the sea. It is also difficult for Sauron to swim in the waves. He simply held his breath and began to swim under the sea. After reaching the bottom of the sea, Sauron felt that it was more stable here than on the surface of the sea. Sea water flow is less exaggerated. It's no wonder, because the sea is surging due to the blowing of the storm. The sea below is much more stable. From here Sauron began to swim towards the bottom of the Discovery. After some swimming, Zorro finally reached the bottom of the Discovery. He stuck his head out from the side of the boat. Rog discovered Sauron first. "Zoran," Rog said. "You survived," Usopp said. "That's great," Chopper said. Sauron was a little embarrassed, and said, "Stop talking nonsense, help me up quickly." Rog directly put down the giant wooden hand and brought Sauron up. Sauron returned to the deck, panting hard. "It's really thrilling," Sauron also said. The Ninja King walked up to Sauron, raised his thumbs up and said, "Sauron, good job." Sauron smiled at him and said, "Humph, that's how swordsmen fight." Although the king of ninjas is usually taciturn, he is Sauron these days. The two sides actually have a great understanding. It can be said that heroes cherish heroes. "But the crisis is not over yet," said the Ninja King. I saw the surviving 3 king seagulls continue to fly over. The 3 king seagulls were full of anger. They have been traveling the sea together as 4 brothers for a long time. But now one has been killed. The remaining 3 great king seagulls can be said to be surprisingly angry. They flew towards Discovery at amazing speeds. This time they will use heavy bombs for a devastating attack. This time it's really your death. Everyone on the deck of the Discovery was very serious this time. Now the life and death of both parties will be decided. The Ninja King said, "Rog, it's up to you." Luffy said, "I'll go up too." Sauron said, "How could it be without me?" Roger said, "I see." Rog grabbed the 3 of them with the giant wooden hand. The goddess of spring is also starting to prepare at this time. She whispered magic words. And the 3 axes, the golden axe, the silver axe, and the iron axe were taken out together. This extremely powerful magic attack. 3 king gulls swooped swiftly toward the Discovery. Ice, fire, wind, combined storm. The spring goddess casts powerful magic. The force formed by the rapidly swarms of ice cones, fireballs, and wind force killed the pest. These attacks hit 3 king gulls head-on. Although these individually are not very lethal, they cause great disturbance to the king gull. The giant wooden hand controlled by Rog held the 3 of them tightly and said, "Go." Luffy, the king of ninjas, and Sauron were thrown out. The 3 of them flew to the 3 king seagulls respectively. The 3 king seagulls are also about to drop all the remaining dozens of heavy bombs. Rubber. Tempest. The secret of 3 sword styles. 3,000 worlds. Ghost killing god. The powerful attack of the 3 hit 3 king seagulls. 3 king seagulls were hit by the trio's ace-trick. With a piercing scream, the 3 king seagulls lost their balance and fell to the sea below. The 3 also flew out after this life and death battle. The last 3 all fell into the sea below. Roger and Usopp saw the king seagulls falling down. 3 great king gulls plummeted towards the sea. Fortunately, Discovery is already urgently using the waves to move forward at this time. Otherwise, it would be a real headache for the bodies of the 3 king seagulls to hit it. The huge bodies of the three king seagulls fell into the sea with a splash. Regardless of whether the three king seagulls were killed or injured, they all sank into the sea completely. But at this moment, the first king seagull that hit the deck just now trembled slightly. Those eyes opened suddenly, and they were eyes of infinite hatred. Everyone was startled by these huge eyes. Usopp was horrified and said, "Oh my God." Rog reacted immediately and quickly manipulated the hand of the giant tree to jam the neck of King Seagull. After holding his throat for a while, the King Seagull completely died. But those huge, fierce eyes kept looking at everyone. "Don't worry, it's dead," Rog said. At the same time, the giant wooden hand manipulated by Rog loosened the neck of the King Seagull. Chopper stepped forward very cautiously to check. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 396. "No problem, it is indeed dead," Chopper said after checking. Chopper is proficient in medicine and can determine whether a living thing is dead. With Chopper's judgment, Usopp was also relieved. "Okay, Captain Usopp is going to announce everyone's victory." Usopp quickly and exaggeratedly jumped on the head of the King Seagull to give a lecture. All the brave sea warriors, under the heroic leadership of Captain Usopp, finally killed the powerful and ferocious giant seagull monster. This is something that should be celebrated. It is not only an honor that belongs to Captain Usopp. It also belongs to all the sea warriors. "Glory," Usopp said proudly. Chopper was very excited to listen to Usopp's glorious speech. Roger looked at the sea again. "How are Sauron and the others doing?" Rog said. Now Sauron, Luffy, and the King of Ninjas are all in doubt about their lives. But both of them were able to swim in the sea. As long as nothing happens to Luffy, it'll be fine. In the middle of the sea, Sauron and the King of Ninjas both fell into the sea and swam below the surface of the sea. And Luffy also struggled and sank below the surface of the sea. Zoro and the King of Ninjas catch this landlubber and swim together. After swimming for a while, I finally arrived at the side of the Discovery ship. "Look, where is it?" Usopp said. "Here," Chopper said. "Give it to me." Rog hurried to the right rear of the Discovery and controlled the giant wood hand to catch the three of them together. Zoro, Luffy and the King of Ninjas were caught on the deck. Luffy was filled with sea water. Sauron and the King of Ninja looked very embarrassed. "But it was a victory anyway," Sauron said. "It was a good battle." The Ninja King said, "Zoro, I really saw it this time. The purpose of a swordsman is not to be afraid of death." Usopp said, "The enemy is nothing special in the air. Under the leadership of Captain Usopp, you finally won the victory." Rog said, "By the way, save Luffy quickly." When everyone looked at Luffy, Chopper was squeezing the sea water out of Luffy's stomach, which was as distended as a balloon. "You really deserve to be a doctor. You're really dedicated," the Ninja King sighed. Usopp said proudly, "This is because Captain Usopp taught the crew well." After working hard for a while, Chopper finally squeezed out all the seawater in Luffy's stomach. "Luffy!" everyone shouted. Luffy slowly opened his eyes. He opened his mouth and said, "Meat." Then sat up. "Where's the meat? Where's the meat? Where's the meat?" Luffy quickly looked around and asked. Usopp said with shame, even after he drowned and passed out, he didn't forget to eat meat. Luffy realized that it was just a dream, and remembered to fight. "Have all those seagulls been killed?" Luffy asked. "They were all killed," Rog said. "Great," Luffy said. Now after fierce fighting, the four king seagulls were finally wiped out. Discovery is already in a mess. Everyone then arrived at the front of the deck. The fighting has basically stopped now. But there is still a dead king gull on this deck. "It's so big, what should I do?" Chopper said. "Throw it into the sea," Usopp said. Luffy suddenly had an idea and said, "By the way, what about food? Seagull meat is delicious. It's still such a big seagull." "Yeah, That's a good idea too, everyone agreed. Sanji looked at the huge seagull and said, such a big seagull can cook for a long time. Luffy said happily, I want to eat seagull barbecue, seagull stew, seagull sandwiches, and seagull noodles with bolognese. Usopp said, you just know how to eat. Everyone laughed. After a valiant battle, everyone finally wiped out the four brothers King Hyu. The storm is still raging, but a major victory has been achieved aboard the Discovery. In the stormy sky, Leo continued to fly here. He witnessed the defeat of the four King Seagull brothers with his own eyes. Four supergiant seagulls that used to feed on Sea Kings were actually killed like this. Swarms of heavy bombs were also unable to destroy the Discovery. How could this happen? Leo still couldn't imagine it. He was able to roam the sky over the sea for a long time. Mainly rely on himself and his partners, the four brothers King Seagull. Now the four brothers of King Hyu are all killed in battle, he really can only fight on his own now. Even if this is the case, we need to take a gamble. Leo made up his mind. He couldn't take this breath now. Leo quickly lowered his altitude, and took advantage of the influence of the stormy weather to fly to the Discovery from a low altitude over the sea. On the Discovery, everyone was panting after the fierce battle. The battle severely damaged the deck of the Discovery and part of the upper cabin. Although the storm was fierce, the Discovery was a meter-heavy warship, so there was no need to be afraid of these waves. Just drift freely on the sea. At the front of the deck, everyone is resting. I'm so tired, Nami said. Scared me to death, Chopper said. It's a tough battle. Zoro, who has amazing endurance, also said. Everyone fought really well, Robin said. Sanji, the king of ninjas, and Rog went to the kitchen below the cabin and took some drinks and food. Everyone is tired too, let's eat and drink, Rog said. Sanji gave 3 bottles of juice to Nami, the goddess of spring water, and Robin respectively. Miss Nami, goddess, Miss Robin, you can enjoy the juice I carefully prepared, Sanji said. Thank you, Nami said. Sanji, you are always so thoughtful, said the spring goddess. Robin also took the juice and said, Sanji, you are really a nice gentleman. After Sanji heard the compliments from the 3 beauties, his whole body trembled. Sanji is happy to serve you, Sanji said lovingly. Roger, Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper start eating meat and bread. The Ninja King toasts Zoro with wine. Although it is still windy and rainy, everyone is very happy. This battle is really exciting. I must write Captain Usopp's memoirs, Usopp said. Chopper cheered and said, okay. Luffy, on the other hand, ate and drank without caring about others. After talking with other people, Rog said thoughtfully again, by the way, there is no result for that Leo yet. Usopp said, that's right. But I think he must be afraid of our strong combat power, and he has already gone somewhere. Roger was a little skeptical, and said, I always feel that he will make a comeback. Chopper was also lost in thought, and said, I don't think he can give up. Now Leo was the only one left who didn't show up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee A Dream. Chapter 397. Now there are 2 situations that can be judged. One is that Leo knew that he was not strong enough because the 4 King Seagull brothers were killed. Simply stop fighting with everyone. The other is to withdraw temporarily in order to continue revenge. But the final result was something no one expected. In fact, Leo has already used the complicated stormy weather here to fly close to the sea surface, approaching the Discovery and preparing to attack. Discovery is floating in the ocean. But at this time, Nami suddenly discovered something. Look, Nami said. What's wrong? Everyone came to the bow. Looking into the distance, Everyone's eyes widened in surprise. I saw a huge storm spinning in the distance ahead. And the storm directly rolled up the sea water. An astonishingly huge swirling water column was formed. What a spectacular view, Luffy shouted excitedly. This is a miracle. Usopp saw this rotating water column, which was at least 400 to 500 meters in diameter. Even if the Discovery rover gets close, it will be involved. How spectacular, Chopper said. Rog sighed after seeing it. This is really a rare sight in the world. Others also expressed their admiration. This soaring rotating water column is enough to engulf everything around it. Now you can even see some huge sea fish spinning in the water column. However, the huge rotating water column is still far away from the Discovery. Don't be shocked, everyone, and get ready to turn the wheel, Nami said. Okay, everyone said. Sanji quickly made his way to the rudder. Nami continued to stand near the bow. At this moment, a figure suddenly flew up from under the bow. He grabbed Nami with his claws. Everyone looked in shock. It was Leo. Leo turned into a seagull, flew and grabbed Nami with 2 claws. Help! Nami yelled in horror. Leo looked at everyone on the deck fiercely. He distanced himself and flew to the sea. You bastard, let go of Ms. Nami. Sanji was so angry that he wanted to rush out of the ship. He actually attacked by surprise, Usopp said. Now Rog, Luffy, Usopp, Sauron, Sanji, Chopper, Robin and the Goddess of Spring are all ready to fight. Leo actually made a sneak attack with his super powerful flying ability. When everyone gritted their teeth and reprimanded, Leo hijacks Nami to fly in the sea. Humph, huh, do you think you can make me give up like this? Leo said with hatred. Zoro said, what exactly do you want? Leo said, of course I will kill you. Luffy wanted to rush over and said, you guy. Usopp hurriedly stopped him and said, be careful, he is kidnapping Nami now. If you hit him, Nami will fall into the sea. Roger also looked at Leo seriously. Now Nami is hijacked and it's tricky. Rog looked at Robin and walked slowly to Robin's side. Robin, it's up to you later, Rog said. Robin looked at Rog out of the corner of his eye, and said, okay. Leo continued to say with contempt and hatred, you stinky humans. Although you killed the 4 King Seagull brothers. But I am not that group of ignorant guys. I will torture you. Taking advantage of this time, Leo turned his gaze to the rudder again. Leo took out some small bombs that he carried with him. He threw the bomb towards the rudder of the ship. A small bomb exploded at the helm of the ship. After a burst of fire, the rudder was completely destroyed. Usopp looked at the rudder of the ship and at the spinning water column in the distance. Oh my god, Usopp said. Roger also looked at the damaged rudder. After the rudder is destroyed, the Discovery will drive straight to the spinning water column that soars into the sky. No one present in this way can escape. It turned out that Leo hijacked Nami first, and then took the opportunity to destroy the rudder. This way everyone can be caught in one fell swoop. Despicable bastard, Chopper scolded angrily. Leo said contemptuously, a reindeer that is a pet for humans. This is what will happen to you. Chopper gritted his teeth, wishing to beat Leo into a pulp. Roger said with a serious face, since you have accomplished your goal, then let Nami go. Our partner will be with us even until the last moment. Leo looked at Rog, said in silence for a moment, okay, let you die together. Leo began to fly higher, over the bow of the Discovery. He was about 50 meters away from the deck. Go down. Leo released his claws and Nami fell down. At this moment, Roger looked at Robin and winked. Robin folded his hands quickly. 6-wheel flower. Anchor flower. Robin activates the ability to bloom fruit. Leo, who was flying in the air, was about to fly away. But suddenly 6 arms grew out of his body. What? Leo was shocked. His wings and neck were quickly jammed. Leo lost his balance and began to fall. Nami is in a fall. But Sanji, Zoro, Usopp, and Chopper pulled Luffy away like a life-saving cushion. Nami landed on it, safe and sound. After Leo was attacked by Robin's move, he fell heavily on the deck. But it's not over yet. Roger quickly shot the cane whip. The rattan whip quickly tied Leo's 5 flowers together. Leo in seagull form loses mobility. Roger looked at Robin and said, "Thank you." Robin said, "You're welcome, are we partners?" Although it wasn't long before Robin joined the Straw Hat Pirates, he saved an important partner. Leo struggled hard on the deck. He didn't believe the failure just now. Even if he is attacked by people on the deck, he can quickly dodge with his speed. But now he was defeated by the incredible ability of the opponent. "Damn," Leo said. But quickly a group of figures stood in front of him. It's angry Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Chopper, Usopp, Roger and others. And of course Nami. "How dare you kidnap my partner?" Luffy punched Leo on the head. "You bastard actually hurt a lady." Sanji kicked Leo in the head. "Must kill." Chili Star. Usopp shot a Chili Star projectile. Leo breathed fire after swallowing it. Chopper angrily punched Leo on the head. "You scumbag," Chopper said. Rog and Zoro didn't make a move, they just looked at Leo with contempt. Of course, Nami is indispensable for the group beating of Leo. Nami arrived in front of Leo, who was beaten with a bruised nose and face. "How dare you!" What follows is a stunning flurry of punches and kicks. Even Usopp and the people around him were shocked. Nami's power is the most powerful of the Straw Hat Pirates. Pirate Plant Fruit. Author, Lee Er. A Dream. Chapter 398. After being beaten by the group, Leo was already in a mess. But he was still stubborn, and said, "Humph, no matter how much you vent, you will go to hell with me." Everyone's heart skipped a beat. After all, the huge rotating water column ahead is getting closer and closer. And the rudder was broken. Rog walked up to Leo and said, "No matter what, you will go to hell first. And we will not sit still." Leo saw Rog's eyes filled with confidence. He also doubted whether Rog could turn things around. Roger said, "Luffy, you send him to the west first." "Okay," Luffy said happily. Rog hurried to the back of the Discovery's hull. He has a way to reverse everything. Luffy on the bow of the ship, with the help of Chopper and Sanji, stretched his body into a slingshot. Usopp is responsible for pulling the slingshot, while Leo is the projectile. Nami is in charge of the counting. 1, 2, 3, launch, Nami said. Usopp released the giant slingshot. Leo is shot. It shot out from the bow of the ship and flew towards the huge and incomparably rotating water column. Leo was shot out full of unwillingness and anger. His body flew to the side of the huge swirling water column, but he was sucked by the air current, and then he was sucked into the huge swirling water column. His body was quickly and completely swallowed by the water column. Become a member of the countless creatures inside. There is no way to survive after entering this kind of water column. After Luffy and Nami punished Leo, they were happy for a while. But then it was a little discouraged. The huge rotating water column in front is not far away. Just now, Leo's destruction and time delay made Discovery get closer to the huge rotating water column. Of course, the rudder was damaged, but there was no other way. "There's really nothing we can do," Usopp said with tears streaming down his face. Nami was also frightened and cried. "It's terrible," Chopper said. Luffy still waved his fist foolishly, and said, "It's getting close, smash this water column." Nami punched him and said, "Idiot, you are still like this at this time. Can you beat him badly?" Sanji quickly rushed to the side of the rudder, trying hard to see if it could be repaired. "Is there really no other way? I can't let 3 ladies die here," Sanji said. Sauron, the king of ninjas and the goddess of spring all looked forward in shock. Robin kept thinking about what Rog was doing just now. Discovery continues its approach toward the rotating water column. Everyone can feel the astonishing huge air current. Discovery continues on its way. There was a moment of crying and howling on deck. At this time, the direction of Discovery suddenly deviated a little to the right. At this time, everyone felt that this was an illusion. But Discovery continued to veer to the right. Discovery sailed past the right side of the huge rotating water column in an arc-like trajectory. Usopp and Luffy looked at the soaring water column in disbelief. "We succeeded," Usopp said. "Our escape," Chopper said. "Avoid the water column," Nami said. "We escaped," Luffy said. "Yes, we escaped." Everyone cheered together. Everyone on the deck of the Discovery was very happy. Sanji came over at this time and said, "It's strange, the rudder of the ship was completely destroyed." He looked at Sauron. "Could it be that Roger used that?" Sanji said. "I think so too," Sauron said. Everyone then walked towards the stern of the ship together. When we got to the stern, we saw Roger standing at the stern. The giant wooden hand on Roger's right arm was used. At this time, Rog's giant wooden hand was manipulating the huge stern rudder under the stern of the Discovery. The rudder of the ship is really at the stern. And the disc-like rudder on the hull is the real rudder that uses a lever to turn the stern. This is how Rog manipulated the stern rudder of the Discovery, allowing the warship to escape from danger. "Rog, you are so smart," Usopp and the others shouted. Rog looked at everyone and said, "Fortunately, this weapon is very versatile." Rog continued to use the giant wooden hand to control the warship and continue to move forward. With Rog using the giant wooden hand to control the direction, the Discovery continued to sail and sailed a long way. The storm finally stopped. The sky became clear again. Rog didn't have to work hard to control the warship anymore. Everyone rested together on the remaining intact deck. After resting here for a while, everyone enjoyed the sunshine. The fighting in the storm just now seems to have passed for a long time. "Ah, it's like a dream," Luffy said. During the storm just now, everyone fought fiercely with Leo and King Seagull. Although this is not very long, it can be regarded as a thrilling adventure. Usopp drank his drink while writing a record of his sailing adventures. Used to record the great battle in this storm. "Okay, the part of Captain Usopp's adventure record, Tempest Adventure, is finished," Usopp said happily. Chopper was also very happy to see the Voyage adventure record written by Usopp. "That's great, I want to see it too," Chopper said. Okay, Usopp showed Chopper the record of his sailing adventure. Chopper read Usopp's masterpiece. One morning full of terrifying storms, on the deck of a huge ship sailing in confusion, the brave Captain Usopp led the brave sea warriors to ride the wind and waves together. Chopper read with relish. Usopp excitedly explained its contents. Rog looked at the sun and white clouds in the sky. "The sea breeze blows." In the tense moment just now, fortunately, he used his powerful plant weapon to turn the world around and save the day. "I don't know what dangers I will encounter in this vast sea. Dangers come not only from the sea, but also from the sky." Rog looked at Robin, who was having a cordial conversation with Nami. One of Robin's newest additions is to help everyone fight the enemy together and save Nami. From this point of view, at least Robin is more sincere and wants to take risks with everyone. Of course, Robin also has his own purpose. "It really scared me to death," Nami still said with lingering fear. "But you are really cared by everyone. So many people put you first." "Miss Navigator," Robin said. "You're welcome, just call me Nami. Of course, I'm really important. After all, it doesn't matter if you don't have a captain, you can choose again. Without a navigator, it's fatal," Nami said. "Okay, Nami," Robin said. This adventure made the gap between Robin and everyone a lot less. although she still has an inexplicable distance from everyone.